All right, morning everyone. First of all, thank you for the invite to speak today. Real pleasure to be in an environment with industry colleagues and some great discussion on the table earlier on. There's clearly some common challenges across the board. So I'm going to speak for about 10 or 15 minutes this morning, and really just to present 2 or 3 ideas around how to increase recruiter productivity. It's not meant to be the panacea to everyone's solutions, but just the 2 or 3 ideas that can just help to think about how we can support recruiters and sourcers as the industry starts to pick up, which it inevitably will do over the course of the next few months. Okay, so first of all, let me introduce myself. So around 20 years experience in recruiting, worked in various agencies, RPOs, with RPOs and in-house teams. I spent the last 9 years working with Meta, and we scaled the business from around 5,000 employees to almost 90,000 employees. So that's been quite a journey, as you can imagine. And I've spent the last few years focusing on creating and delivering scaled programs to essentially accelerate and support our recruiting teams to hire much more effectively and much quicker. All right, so let me start with a quote from Abe Lincoln, and I love this quote because it really talks about the importance of preparation. And yeah, if I had 8 hours a day to chop down a tree, then I would spend 6 hours sharpening my axe. And I think maybe this is the time where we start to sharpen our axes, although no axes will be used over the course of the next 10 minutes, you'll be glad to hear. But thinking about really sharpening our operating models, really thinking about how we're actually going to do things, because at some point we're going to be asked to go out and chop down a tree, maybe, metaphorically speaking, of course. All right, so idea 1, so I'm going to talk about 3 ideas this morning. Idea 1 is really about building your followership. Even in a time of slow recruiting, I think it's really, really important that we continue to build our brands, continue to talk about our value propositions, talk about our inclusive environments, all the things that we would do when we're at high hiring volumes. One of the things that I feel is really, really important is to continue to tell the story of our company around our products, the innovation that we're seeing, and as a call to action to any potential candidates of the future, to really think about how do we get them following our various channels. And why is this important? We did some research recently where we saw that candidates that previously engaged with our brand in some way, either through following our page, applying for a role, interacting with our content, we actually saw a 3x return, up to 3x return in our in-mail response rate, which is huge. And if you put that into context of recruiter productivity, this is something that we can really start to build, and now is the time to do that. So what could we expect? So firstly, when hiring volumes do inevitably increase, and if we look at Ben's chart earlier on, we know that will come at some point in the future. How do we make sure that we can really re-engage with this talent that has previously interacted with our brand? And as a result of that, we should expect some productivity gains in terms of our in-mail response rates as we start to actively recruit again. That's idea 1. Idea 2, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Ancient proverb, but still stands true today, I think. And what we're really thinking about here is how can we ensure that we are working with the active candidates. And by active candidates, we mean somebody who has taken time to, number 1, find a suitable role. Number 2, navigated the pitfalls of our career site. Number 3, has uploaded their CV. Number 4, has filled out the various forms that we asked them to do. So they're highly engaged already. And an active candidate is somebody that, they're already quite far down the buying cycle. So during these quieter times, one thing we've been thinking about is how do we ensure that we can get relationships in place with potential advertising channels. And this could be obviously the likes of LinkedIn, but job boards, maybe thinking about programmatic partnerships and programmatic advertising. And the reason we could do this in a quiet time is when hiring does come back eventually, we have all those relationships and those agreements in place, and we can move at speed. The second thing is to really ensure that we are thinking about where would our engineering candidates be hanging out online, where are the places that we really want to go and find them, and working with those advertising partners to make sure we've got the right channels in place. The third part to this is really around how we can ensure that we're well placed. It's all very well generating a lot of volume and a lot of inbound traffic, but how can we make sure we are well placed to respond and manage to those candidates in a really effective manner when we effectively flip the switch on? So why is this important? Well, what we'll see is we can very quickly. Actually, that's the wrong part to the slide. So don't worry about the piece to the right. So very quickly, we can turn advertising on very, very quickly. And actually, our lead time to generating inbound candidates can be very, very short. And this could be a way to really ramp up our hiring efforts incredibly quickly. The second point is around ensuring that we've got the team in place, and we have the response management capability in place that can actually handle that inbound set of candidates, way to accelerate hiring when that project of 1,000 hires or 100 hires drops. Okay. The third idea I wanted to share is about leveraging the power of our network. Now, I truly believe that referrals is the sleeping giant of any TAT. And we know that we know two things. Firstly, that referrals that are made, we personally see much higher conversion rates through a hiring funnel because those candidates are much further down the buying cycle. And secondly, an effective referrals program should be delivering around a third of our hires all in. So what can we do? So again, during this sort of time where we're really thinking about optimizing our functions, let's take a look at the rewards program for our referrals program. So I know a lot of referrals programs are cash based. So that could be right for your company. We're really thinking about, how about a charitable donation? How about a prize? How about something that's going to mean something to your employee base? So really taking the time to just really look at that and think about different ways and different rewards that you could offer your employee base. Secondly, make sure your actual process is fit the purpose. How easy is it to make a referral? If it's taking more than 2 or 3 minutes to make a referral, probably needs optimizing. It probably needs looking at and how do we make sure that experience, the refer experience, is really sharp. Thirdly, really think about the reputation. I know I've personally been sat in a meeting with senior stakeholders and waxing lyrical about our referrals program, only to somebody to put their hand up and say, I made a referral and nobody called them. And that kills your referrals program right there and then. So making sure that you have the mechanisms in place to on the back end to make sure that those referrals are being treated in a fair, consistent, and timely fashion through the referrals program. So those are the three ideas. And what should we expect? With idea 3, we're really looking, when hiring volume increases, it's a great opportunity to go out and re-promote your referrals program. If you've decided to offer some different incentives, how do we make sure we market those appropriately through through an internal marketing campaign? Secondly, we should anticipate an increased participation in our referrals program. So we often see about 7-8% of employees actually make referrals on a regular basis. Imagine if that was double. Imagine if that's 20 or 30% of your employee populations are actually participating in the scheme. Not only does that add to the volume of referrals you're generating, but it will also increase the diversity of referrals that you're generating across your business. And finally, we expect about a third of our hires through referrals. So a combination of those two things, making it incentivizing, making sure people are really trust the program and want to participate in the program, will help us to ultimately increase the output of the program. All right, so like I say, this wasn't meant to be like the panacea to all your problems, but these are just 3 ideas that hopefully you can take away and think about for your business. And ultimately, what we're looking at here is if we can generate greater inbound traffic through increasing our performance marketing successes, increasing the efficacies of our referrals program, combined with efficiencies in terms of how we're outreaching to candidates and seeing greater conversion rates, we all hope that will contribute to higher conversion rates and ultimately greater productivity when hiring gets going again. So that's it from me. I don't know if we've got time for questions or, so happy to open the floor.